Hello there, everybody, and welcome back here to the NLC. We are jamming and jiving, ready to get into Game 2, where we have got our match of the day between Nativz and Vanir. Veteran Nativz, one of the rosters coming into this split that we're anticipating to do really, really well. Got a win last week, but obviously falling down to Verdant as well, now facing up against Vanir, who are similarly at that 1-1 scoreline.
Yeah, I mean, Verdant being the other lineup, that is full of the very experienced, somewhat known names, right? So you'd expect that one to be close. This one, obviously, there's a clean sweep for Nativz in terms of the predictions. The big X factor is Liam Cole on the bot lane, right?
Yes.
Liam Cole has looked exceptional in his performances, and like we were saying beforehand, right, he's looked really good, but he is against the last AD carry in the NLC who looks similarly good than Voxnay in his rookie split, so kind of a battle of the AD carries on the bot lane there.
Yeah, and I mean, we've seen that Liam Cole has a massive propensity for Aphelios, which seems to be a champion that is working out pretty well for teams here in the NLC, but I do like that you're bringing up Voxnay as well, because it feels like he's really unlocked a different sort of playstyle for this Nativz roster, specifically with the enchanters coming out of bot lane. Obviously playing the Seraphine, a pick that he's been really favoured on before, and that's allowing Vladdy in the mid lane to play stuff like the Yone, which is a little bit more aggressive and you wouldn't maybe see if you had a traditional AD carry.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the ability for them to be able to do AP carries in the bot lane is really good, because if Zeri, Lucian, these kinds of high-value bot lane combos are out, I actually genuinely believe AP champions in bot lane become the next strongest. I don't think anything in the game beats Karthus right now, including a lot of the more broken combos in the game. So if they have the ability to do that, and Vladdy has the ability to make up for the lack of AD damage, they have a lot more things open in draft to them than other teams actually do. My big question then is, how does Stefan adapt to that situation? Because Stefan is a guy who's typically being a very, very strong jungler in play for jungle metas, because he's very, very good at kind of playing for himself, playing the jungle as a more complete thing. But League of Legends is no longer a complete game, right? We have to be reminded 28 minutes in that top lane even exists at all there. It's very much a play for mid, play for bot game, especially with the new minion changes that emphasize laners can't really interact with other lanes in the early phase. It's now much more about that 2v2, about that 3v3. So it's going to favor more gank heavy junglers now. Is Stefan going to be able to keep up with that kind of like maximal tempo? Against someone like PPBat, you would imagine the answer would be yes.
Yeah.
But there is still the window there for new up-and-coming junglers fresh from solo queue to find that their solo queue playstyle translates a lot better into competitive than it did before.
And I want to see one of those solo queue top laners as well. Kitano, for me, I think has the potential to be one of the dark horse top laners coming through in this split. Someone who didn't really know too much about them coming in, but I think there is a world where the player, the Kitano that we've got at the end of the split, is someone that we're talking about as a sort of top 2, top 3 top laner within the league. And that matchup against Shikari is going to be so interesting for me to work out what his sort of power level is as a player. Because we know Shikari's good. Kitano, less sure.
Yeah, I mean, Kitano, he's French, and like the new post-Adam lineage of French top laners, he plays on a very neuron activation, no plural playstyle, where that one neuron's job is to right-click into the enemy over and over again on champions like the Darius, right? Like Garen, like Olaf, these kinds of stat check-based champions, which are the most fun and most impact you're honestly going to have as a top laner at this point, unless you're just farming on the tank for ages, and who really wants to do that? But with Liam Cole, we're effectively now talking about Vanir as a double threat lineup. Two very aggressive, very hungry rookie players that have champions you have to respect. Even if you don't necessarily respect the player themselves, you have to respect the champions that they pick, and you have to play around that knowledge. Shikari, on the other hand, you know, he can play those champs. He has played those champs, but he's also, I think of Shikari, I think of Kennen, right? The kind of champions that play very well into those stat check-based champions. But still, Shikari can't just ignore Kitano and assume the laning phase will go well here, because Kitano will pick things that pressure him from level 1 onwards, and things that force you to have to prove that the veterancy of your time in the NLC matters over the new hungry aggression that Kitano is going to bring on top side.
And we'll have to see if Nativz are able to shut him down in draft, or whether they will save their punishment solely for the Rift, as we are now jumping into Champions Let's. And something I just want to point out before you dive into your spiel, veteran, that Aniban here from Nativz. Harbo played it both games last split, so we're going to have to see something new from the Vanir mid laner.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Harbo is a guy who he had some nice team fights, but generally speaking, that mid-jungle is the place we would expect to blow up if anywhere blew up on the side of Vanir. Right? We talked a lot about Kitano, we talked a lot about Liam Cole and their positives, and part of that is that Harbo Pippi Bat haven't quite gotten that synergy down yet, and you'd expect an experienced player like Stefan to be able to do a lot with that, and Vladdy, he was a new name last year. Nowadays, everyone kind of knows who he is. I wouldn't exactly call him a veteran yet, but he's very strong. That Seraphine pick, though, they've done their scouting, they've done their research, they've picked away from them Voxnay. You see the Maokai jungle, you know that Nativz are thinking of going AD in mid, and if they're thinking about going AD in mid, what must they be thinking about going bot? An AP champ. So they've picked the most famous Den Voxnay AP champion away. You could also put Seraphine in mid lane, and it's very good against the kind of all-in champion that Vladdy would like to pick.
So looking at this rotation here from Vanir, obviously Seraphine, Sion, not two champions that we are used to seeing here at the B1, B2. Are we assuming that this is a flex potential? Like we've got this Seraphine that can go into multiple lanes, and the Sion as well, that's why they've opted to go for this here?
The Seraphine is almost definitely a flex between mid and bot lane. I would assume it is, having not really done the sufficient scouting on Habbo's solo queue account to be able to discount it. If Nativz have, they could play around the fact that they can't discount that they can discount it, but I would assume right now it's a flex pick between top and bot lane, either support or ADC, not entirely sure which. The Sion one, I mean, if you go woodcutter Sion, there's a tree on the enemy team, clearly you win the game just purely based off of that. Aphelios has been the classic default champion for them Voxnay, I've never fully agreed with it. And Kitano, stat check champion, he is on the Olaf, which puts further into question, where is this Sion going, right? Now you look at it and you're looking at Sion mid, Olaf top, and Seraphine in the bot lane as a support or a bot lane pick. There's also room for Sion to be a support champ. That used to be very good into stuff like Zyra, right? These low mobility, poke-based mages on bot lane. But I would ultimately expect this signals it's a Sion mid, a champion that Harbo can get all-ins with in team fights, and pilots itself very easily in lane, right? Q on the wave, E on the wave, and you're basically done, you're sorted, no one can really kill you in that mid lane.
Yeah, and so when we were talking about Vanir, it very much is a team that is looking towards their top lane, towards their bot lane as well to find that carry. So I think having a more neutralizing pick in the mid lane makes a lot of sense. And I mean, you're drafting Sion, we're saying that it's possibly going mid lane. It's drawn enough respect, I think, with this Cenaban. Obviously, that's something that you can pair with the Sion, can pair with this Seraphine as well if you're going towards the bot lane. Vanir taking away some of this pick and trying to ensure that the Olaf is going to get a good matchup as well.
Yeah, I mean, I like this Jace pick with the Maokai because you're still maintaining the AD plus AP, which prevents the easy access to Mercs, Shreds, or Ninja Tabbies. The pick, I think, goes really well into both Sion and Olaf, regardless of where it goes. And this is my hot take, is actually Aurelion Sol. I think Aurelion Sol top is really, really good into stat-based champions like the Darius. Speaking of stat check-based champions, is that going to get locked? Because they picked away Liam Cole's favoured champion, which is the Aphelios. The Ashe gets locked. I'm a huge fan of that, because when we talk about Aphelios, we talk about outranging him, we talk about range engage, we talk about range damage match. Ashe is literally all of that, right? Ashe will engage with her R. The follow-up on that R is the Seraphine R. You can do all of this from a safe distance that doesn't allow Aphelios to just get on top of your pixel and just spam boomerangs on your face. But the Yuumi has made it all the way through draft. The Yuumi has made it all the way through draft. It's not going to get engaged on by either of those champions as easily. And it looks like it's being locked in, hasn't it?
I believe that has actually been locked. So yeah, we are going to be seeing Voxnay and Twist on the Aphelios Yuumi. And this just makes it really difficult, right, for Kitano to operate here on the Olaf, because you're running in. I'm not seeing that many other champions here on the side of Vanir that are necessarily going to be going forward with you. So you do need to play a little bit back here on this Olaf if you're going to find success. And the Gnar here as well, it feels like Nativz kind of just don't want to give anything away.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the Gnar pick. I would honestly prefer to see Shikari match on a stat checker, just go something like Garen or Darius into the Olaf, something like that. The immediate stat checker that I think is actually pretty good into Olaf is actually Singe, but that's not open to you of the Maokai, so I was thinking about AD ones. The Gnar's more of like a neutralizing pick. Gnar's more saying like, okay, just don't feed Shikari, alright, you can at least do decently well here, and the rest of us will make sure that the Olaf can't do anything into Arphilius later. He's going to try to kite with the Yuumi on top of him, right? But this Olaf gets to one item. We know what it looks like in teamfights. It looks basically unstoppable. I wonder if Liam Cole or Garfield's going to be playing the Ashe. We're on 13-11, so Echoes of Helia Ashe has been nerfed, right? I actually think Echoes of Helia went from being you should just play Ashe every game and if you're not, you're stupid, to you're kind of stupid if you do pick Ashe now. I love Echoes of Helia, but it's not that strong. You'll still get a lot from Imperial Mandate, and obviously your R will be up permanently as the Ashe. You still get all the benefits of Ashe before, but it's not the insane hard win champ that it was before. That being said, if you were to just go Ashe ADC and you didn't go Liandry's tier on Seraphine, you would severely lack in AP damage because it's a full AD top side. It's Ninja Tabby's o'clock, so I can see the logic.
It makes sense, right? And I think the Ashe itself here, it offers for Vanir like actual snap engage. I think that you've got ults here like the Scion, like the Seraphine, and I feel like those are good, those are useful, but so often they are not quite getting the same value that you need to. Ashe is really easy setup, low cooldown like you mentioned, and it means that you can follow up with the Scion ult, with this Seraphine ult on an already stunned target.
And a huge thing here, right? We were asking, can Liam Cole match Demvoxnay? He's matched Demvoxnay's champion pool here, right? Aphelios priority we saw last week into Seraphine priority on this week. He's matching Demvoxnay step for step, blow for blow. And this game he's going to say, I can do what you do better than you do, and really try to make a name for himself with this game. Neutralizing pick on the mid lane, that's probably the area where we think they're weakest the most relative to Nativz, right? This mid jungle setup. They just haven't built up their synergy yet. But it's a Scion in mid lane with a Belveth, right? This is the classic composition from last patch. I think this is a really strong pairing as well if you just want to neutralize that midsection, play hard for both lanes. Kitana wants to put on a show. Liam Cole wants to prove that he can do anything that Moxley does better. I'm really excited for this draft. I'm really excited to see how this ends up working out, because they have a really good draft objectively.
It's really cool. It's really cool. It's really funky. And I like that you highlighted that Belveth there for people back, because I'm not going to lie, I've played a few games of Belveth recently and they have not gone well. But this guy, meant to be incredibly cracked on him. I remember chatting with a couple of the Elite Series guys that seen him play in Solo queue and a little bit of comp, and they really valued this guy on this pick. So I'm excited to see whether Belveth is going to be good or whether I was just being lied to by a couple of Belgian people, as happened before. But we have talked a lot about this Vanir comp. I want to go us back over to Nativz. Yes, this feels a lot more standard. Yes, this feels a lot more simple. But what do they want to do? What's their goals with the champions that they've drafted?
I mean, their objective is the final level of Halo Reach, and then if that goes on long enough, they have the ability to come back. But you have to assume, right, the heavy ranged engage that Vanir have to output on towards them Voxlade, there's a lot of things he has to burn, and not really much DPS he can do because of the sustain that Vanir have before he can go back in. It's a lot more on Nativ's individual skill to be able to pull off this draft, because Vanir, right, they're playing hard to top and they're playing hard to bot, sure. Right, honestly, looking at this comp, they're just playing super hard to top, let's be real, right? They have a really telegraphed way that they want to play the game early, and when it comes to team fights, yeah, Olaf, just press R and run in, alright, Ashe press R, Seraphine press R, Scion press R, everyone rolls in, and then Belveth just resets on top of every single one of you, alright? Becomes that weird squiggly thing that looks like a stingray. Like, what is it? Is this some lore thing it is?
I think it's meant to be like a stingray sort of thing. I don't know. I don't know what the void equivalent of a stingray is, but
I'm not the play-by-play, so I need to know the names. You know, I don't know most of the abilities in game.
I didn't realise that it was a requirement of play-by-plays to be able to identify animals. That was not in the handbook that they gave me.
You have to know the lore, you have to know the ability names, you have to know the lore again because they updated it since you finally cracked the last one, right? and then you need to know the ability names for all the new champions and the old ones that they reworked, and then you need to do the lore again because Arcane Season 2 came out, right? Like, that's your job, man. That's your responsibility.
You almost make it sound like I do things. Almost here. Level 2 initially hit here for Vanir, and Nativz having to burn that cleanse to prevent himself from getting CC'd up.
Yep, and, you know, this is the most powerful Aphelios looks at level 1, right? Doesn't actually have an ability at this stage, and there's no real synergy with these gun combos except that you have a really long-ranged red Q, but you don't really have a Q level 1, so yeah, pretty standard that Vanir would win this. Pipibat, though, not content farming.
Level up here for Vlad. He's not burned the flash quite yet. Is going to have to use it to get out of that decimating smash. We'll have to see if Pipibat is going to be able to take advantage of that missing summoner spell.
Yep, Stefan's fully reset his bot side and knows for a fact that Pipibat did his top side. Pipibat actually started in Stefan's jungle level 1 off of that invade of Olaf. Olaf of Conqueror, you don't want to mess with that. You don't win that 2v2 top side early, so it was right by Nativz to just switch for bot there. But Stefan, he wants to, on this bounce back on bot lane, make hard plays into Pipibat's jungle, and it's going to be much harder for Vanir to do a play on it without losing minions than it will be for Nativz to make a play on it.
You can see there the shove secured by DV and Twist, giving them priority, allowing them to move into that jungle and help out Stefan should he need it. But Pipibat recognizing that that's the state of play and is just going to be clearing through that top side now, making his way towards that scuttler. So, but I guess for Nativz, coming out of this bot lane, what are the goals for Voxnate and Twist? Because we often talk about Aphelios being a champion that can scale, but Seraphine also got strong scaling in her kit as well. Is there a specific break point where you'd be happy with these two champions going even?
I mean, I do think you want to split in favor of them, Voxnate, right? I think both teams are getting the kind of map split that they want. Pipibat is playing around the Olaf, that really needs to accelerate early. And honestly, Aphelios, yes, the level 1 is not that clean, but every level after that is pain. Right now, if your jungler was to gank, you have the absolute best guns to gank with. Otherwise, you end up with a damage set after this. Otherwise, you end up with a team fight set after this. It gets really good basically every stage for Aphelios now in lane. So that's why he's not pushing, that's why Stefan is leaning here, and that's also why Pipibat is ending his clear on Krugs on top side, right? In case he gets an opening on that Gnar. It's just harder for Olaf to set that up than it is for DV to set that up with the purple gun.
Those melee minions just keep walking forward, really ruining Stefan's ability to sneak into that bottom lane brush, and that's big, right? No setup on the counter gank available. The Shikari is going to shove in this top lane wave, and it means that Liam, Cole, and Garfield aren't necessarily going to be punished for shoving this wave in solo.
Do you think we start the NLC on Tuesdays because Garfield hates Mondays?
I think that's the reason. I think that's it.
Me too. Do you think he's really going to hate Tuesdays after Stefan does this, but Pipibat's there because he doesn't want to have to deal with that all week?
Oh, that Hawkshot not actually going to spot out the Maokai. I think that ward in River should be able to. So it's a couple times that Stefan's actually made his way towards this bot side, not been able to find a gank, and Vanir desperately just trying to break this freeze, prevent Voxnate from keeping those three range creeps outside the tower, but Garfield needs to be careful. Those Yumi Qs are starting to hurt a little bit.
I don't think they win a 3v3, but they do have the choice just not to 3v3 now. Pipibat could be playing hard around Kitano, but I think, I don't know, maybe too many Season 13 games have gotten to him, and he's just not quite recognizing that the Frenchman in top lane is on the champion that you super do want to be accelerating. They're just playing defensive around two low-cost champions that are going to be useful basically no matter what later on. So long as Aphelios isn't accelerating, I think you're good, and I think Aphelios lost his ability to accelerate a while ago. So I think maybe at this point you would be looking to do something with that top wave there. Instead, Stefan is the guy who's there, and Pipibat is stuck bot side, so Gnar is going to be able to get a better state for himself, and Gnar's going to be able to not get dived on top lane. I think Nativz feel much more comfortable about this setup, even though they don't get Aphelios steamrolling ahead.
Well, you don't get the Aphelios steamrolling ahead, but the Olaf has not got any kills. And the longer that the Olaf goes without getting a kill, the worse it is, because this champion doesn't succeed if he isn't fed.
Yeah, I mean, he's a Viking, right? These guys, they couldn't stop themselves just pillaging every single part of Europe because they needed it, and they were very powerful with it. And Harbo, though, coming in!
Jump onto Vox. They still has the flash to get away. Ooh. Just about going to be able to use it at the end. Harbo not taken down by the tower.
Close.
a venture into the bot lane that doesn't net any kills.
So close on either side, and they committed so many resources to that. They do get... That doesn't even really freeze, by the way. That's like completely fake. That doesn't really freeze at all. Yeah, they don't get a good lane state for themselves on bot lane. Jace is just getting loads of plates on mid lane, and Olaf is just relegated to chilling on top side. Guys, like, I want to see Kitano in a fight here, you know? This Olaf, he wants it. Look at those axes. He's coated them with the theoretical blood of enemies. Stop the theory. Make it a reality.
I love the idea of a Viking Marauder who's just like there in VR or something, and he's like swishing the axes, and he takes off the headset. He's like, hold on, this was, what? This is so underwhelming.
Yeah, he's like, yes, guys, I really hope my Seraphine is getting fed here. In fairness, the Olaf on one item is going to be beast mode no matter what.
Yeah.
So there is some utility Seraphine could be able to give. You're seeing that Lost Chapter coming out on bot lane, clearly. Ooh, Pipibat is recognizing there's a potential win con, but Shikari is on a good wave. It's up to Shikari if Pipibat gets an option here. He's not giving it.
Just a little bit too far away, I guess, from Kitano's engage rate, really. But, I mean, it's Shikari, right? How many times has a jungler come into his lane and gone, actually, no, I can't get anything here? Rift Herald's still going to be great for Vanir, though, because of that pressure, that gank in the top side. And it looked like there was an attempt at a bot lane play here coming out from Nativz that didn't really work out.
Well, I'm not sure if getting 2 plates on them Voxnay counts as not working out. I think that was really good for them. Even if it's not an acceleration play.
Okay.
Nice.
It's close, it's close, it's close. Yeah, another plate for Den Voxnay. Slowly scaling up on the Aphelios here, really building up. Oh, a first blood!
Yeah. I think they heard you saying it didn't work out, and they showed you what you wanted to see, which was blood, right?
Yes.
And Pipibat again. Not top lane on the correct wave. He'd have to be there 2 waves later if he wanted a proper dive, or a wave earlier if he wanted a gank. Whereas Stefan, he's bot lane at the perfect time. He was top lane at the perfect time beforehand. He was being bot lane at the perfect time before that. Pipibat might be too little too late, but there's no mana.
Yeah, there's no mana for Den Voxnay, and that's going to be a kill. That's a reset for Pipibat. Not sure if he's going to be able to get any further assassinations off of that, but hey, something for Vanir.
Yeah, I mean, Pipibat, he heard my criticisms. He was like, okay, but what you're not seeing is that then Voxnay is messing up by greeding for too many plates. He's messing up on the timers here. I am going to get him before he's able to group up with Stefan, before he's able to get his recall secured. And he did so. Garfield there, on very low HP, was also able to secure freeze for Seraphine. They're going to try to make Aphelios suffer, going to try to get Seraphine somewhat back into the game, but ultimately, it's the kill on Pipibat. And this composition is based around 2 people, right? We've talked a lot about this Olaf potential win con on top because we're so used to seeing the Olaf just win the moment level 6s hit and just keep winning for the next 10 minutes of the game. But Pipibat on Belveth is going to have the Seraphine, is going to have the Imperial Mandate on Garfield, is going to have a lot of things playing for him, right? He's really the big late game carry that Vanir's composition is built off of, and he is on the board.
Doing well for himself as Stefan trying to grab a little bit of KP for the Maokai. Garfield, Liam Cole under threat. Seraphine rooted, comes through with the encore, but it is cleansed away by Den Voxnay, who'll get fed his 2nd kill of the game. Nativz know where the carry's going to come from.
Yeah, Pipibat looking to do something though. He's just jumped over the wall on top side, and they've done a ping on that tower on top side there. So it looks like he's going to try to steal away a camp and
he's got over the wall.
No, he's going for a gamp. Oh
my
god.
Over the wall, Shikari, not quite able to slow him down there, is going to get knocked up, but is able to hop himself away. I like that Vanir is starting to show a little bit more presence towards this top side.
Yeah, but the wave is pretty good for Shikari. He can just walk away, and he's going to lose like 2 minions at maximum. None of them, to be honest, because Kitano's like, well, he's going to get these eventually. May as well go for the reset when I know Stefan can't be here yet. Stefan, 10 seconds away from being able to do something to Kitano. Kitano's wave is good for him. That's only going to slow for like max 1 wave, and then it's going to push into him. So I think he can just take the reset there, and he can come out. Good awareness from Kitano of the situation he was in, and the split-second decision that he had to make there on the wave as a result.
Yeah, but I like the way that we have had this game state sort of play out, because whilst it hasn't been super high kills, you can kind of see just looking at the gold that Nativz have been able to edge ahead in these very sort of small scenarios. It's 2 kills to 1, but they're the team with the 2k gold lead, and they're the team with the first Drake as well.
They are the team with the first strike. They are the team with the kills on bot lane. But I think the best way to put it is they are the team that is getting their win conditions sorted in the game. Pipibat's being aggressive, but he's got 1 kill on himself. No lead on the Olaf whatsoever to speak of. Even when Olaf collects all of these, he's still going to be waves behind. Not looking that good on Vanir, but still, I feel like their composition is really easy to execute on one item, so we could just be looking at a mid-game skirmish for Vanir to start snowballing.
Looking for it there as Pipibat is going to take an accelerated shock blast to the face. And some of the Rift Herald Vanir probably not going to be looking for a dive with this, just trying to get a couple of plates on their Belveth. Stefan needs to be careful here. He's going to be able to get out there. Drops the Nature's Grasp. I'm not sure that's going to result in any kills, but Vanir able to grab a little bit more gold for themselves.
A little bit more gold for themselves, but we would like to see a lot more than a little. It's not like they're in a position where a frozen game state's going to win the whole thing. Voxnay really wants these last 2 plates. We are only 50 seconds away. Stefan isn't quite there. Ash misses!
I don't know, man. DV's got that schmoop. What are you talking about, bro?
True. That was literally space gliding, by the way. When you red Q like that, you're literally gliding.
It does feel very, very fun when you're just like there and the autos are sort of coming out of you. You're not really having to do anything. But if one of those Ash arrows hits as the game gets a little bit later, it can be disastrous, especially if then Voxnay doesn't have that cleanse available.
Yeah, Pipibat had to stay there for a bit before resetting in case Stefan decides to peel off of bot side camps and make an aggressive play there. He knew the risk, but now plates are down. Right? It's not as big a deal if he starts getting free damage on the tower. Yes, you could take a tower, but you're kind of already accepting that might happen. But look at the plate separation from all of these guys, right? I think Vladdy was able to get plates on bot. Sion was able to get some in return off of the Herald that was dropped there on mid lane, and that was shared gold between Pipibat and Sion, but then Voxnay really cleaned up on those early plates.
As Drake is going to be hitting the Rift there. Neither team really with too much focus towards it. I think mid lane, where the lion's share of the aggression is going to be, as Shikari going to be targeted. Pipibat not quite finding him with the knock-up, and Nativz able to withstand the attempt at aggression in the mid lane.
Yep, and this does get Vanir. This does get Vanir priority and a flash on Vladdy. That's not going to be up again until 1945. And they're going to get this Herald. This is a big deal for them because they're going to be losing bot lane tower. They're going to be behind on tempo 100%. And because they already dropped the first Herald in mid, that mid is incredibly vulnerable. If they get another play like that with Vladdy on no flash, they're able to break mid tower and they're able to force tempo back in their favor. If they're only going to play side lanes from now on, Nativz will win at every point. So you want to be able to push through this mid section and prevent Nativz from being able to play side lanes hard at all.
Vanir, though, looking to put their attention towards the top lane. Pipibat summoning that Herald. Shikari just trying to gain enough fury to go Mega. He's doing a pretty damn good job of it, and Kitana is having to run away. Meganot back onto 2, flashes back away from Garfield, but he's already going to drop down. Vanir finally going to be able to opt back into this, but the flash away from Kitana is going to be punished by a kill from Shikari. Vladdy will give one over, but Nativ's going to be so happy with what the scoreboard looks like now.
For sure, for sure. It's very interesting that they decided to take this route because now Nativz are trading hard for the mid lane tower. And this means that even if you just manage to get tempo back on by making the side lane play here, you've lost it entirely by making the play on mid. You can't extend play here because they took mid. They took mid, they have a short route to go and contest you.
Pipibat's on the run. He takes the tower. I think he has somewhat admitted his fate right now. And you know what? For a Sion, first death 16 minutes in, it's not as bad as it could be.
I mean, not as good as it could be. I'm sorry, did you not watch the Boss's Guide all the way through? Come on, man. Come on.
No, I was gonna spectate a couple of his games, but no, the account that I wanted to spectate, I couldn't watch him play on it for some reason. Don't know what was going on there.
That would be a good death if Sion didn't have a kill.
But it's a bad death because he did well before.
I mean, getting the tower.
True. I mean, yeah, like the tower. Yeah, you are getting a little bit more gold for yourself, trying to accelerate the map spot, but Nativz just that got a little bit further ahead.
because he got a kill, he put himself further up the bounty hierarchy, which you can't do. So he didn't watch the guide all the way through either.
So the trick to winning games on Sion is to not get kills.
Unironically, yeah. So basically, the way the bounty system works is that if you get a kill, it already moves you up this theoretical stanza of bounties. If you get, I think it's like 100 CS or so, you move up the theoretical stanza of bounties. But if you get structure gold or plate gold, it doesn't change you at all up the bounties. So structure gold and plate gold is the best gold to do, which is why the boss goes like 0-10 in the first 14 minutes of the game and then stops dying.
So you get all of that extra gold and you're not giving any bounty over.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so suicide for the plates, because you won't have a bounty anymore. You'll have a negative bounty, if anything. The enemy is giving themselves bounties by getting kills on you, but you're getting the equivalent amount of gold by grabbing the plates, right? So structure's the best, and then CS is way better than kills, because the breakpoint is so high relative to each individual kill. So the problem that Sion did was he got a kill at all. You idiot, Harlow.
Can't believe you would do that. Vladdy... Yeah. The mistake that he made was thinking that he could stand under the bot lane tower. Shikari teleporting in, but not able to prevent Vanir from taking down his mid laner. So not only did Vanir get the kill, but they also get the TP out of the Gnar.
Did you not listen to a word I said? He died, right? But the enemy doesn't get any plates, and Jace didn't get a kill. So it's a good death. God, man.
So hold on, we're expanding this logic to every single champion in League of Legends. Is that how it works?
I'm just saying it's a good death. That's all I'm saying.
If I say it's a good death...
I'm not making a comment on whether the death is good or bad, I'm just saying it's a good death.
You're just making a statement, putting it out there into the world.
Exactly.
Take it or you leave it, you know?
Yeah,
Could be a good death. Just my opinion, bro.
I mean, the map state right now is still better for Nativz than it is for Vanir. They're able to make that play on bot lane. They're not able to break the mid lane tower yet, and then Voxnay has a really safe area to farm from, and Stefan still has really easy passage around the map. The whole of Nativz still has good passage around the map. The best thing that Vanir have right now is that tier 2 on top, but they have no tempo to play the map out with. Olaf is stuck on the tier 2 on bot side there. Vanir are being super pressured back into their jungle. They've lost full control of Drake despite having that open top lane because of Nativ's response to go to the mid tower earlier. And because, you know, Vladdy succeeded in not getting a kill for his death. Good death.
And now, for Vanir, they're having to sort of face check into this river against the Nativz comp that has got 2 items on Voxnay and 2 full items on Vladdy. Chanting Crystal Arrow going to connect onto the Maokai, not necessarily the priority target, as here comes Harbo diving into the backline, but not able to get a stun. Nativz successfully disengaged, but here it comes again, a double kill for Vladdy, and they are truly wiping the floor with Vanir. Garfield and Liam Cole, the bot lane of Vanir, the only ones left alive as flashes away, but they are futile. Vladdy on a killing spree.
Wow, we talked about the ease with which Vanir could potentially use their composition in the mid-game, and here you see the Sion goes in, misses, right? And then the Seraphine ult goes in on their Voxnay, is immediately cleansed. The Ashe are basically nowhere to be found on the primary carries of Nativz. And then Voxnay able to clean house in the fight. Vladdy able to just one-shot because Jace hasn't required skill since Season 4. Kills Ashe from 2 screens away. Like he's AP Cogmore or something.
What do you mean, bro? What do you mean, bro? He had to press like 2 buttons at vaguely the same time, okay? If that's not skill expression, then I don't know what is. Nativz, they get that Drake, they get the fight, they go over to the Baron in the replay, and they slay it down 21 minutes into the game. Veteran, it's harder to think of a better game state than this for Nativz.
Oh yeah, 100%. They still have the mid tower up. It's actually quite mind-blowing to me. I mean, obviously the entirety of Vanir was dead, and you can't really take a tower when you're dead. But still, the fact that Nativ's got...
Veteran, I'll have to stop you on that point. Can't take a tower whilst dead? I can think of a champion that can. And he is ulting into the mid lane. Vanir gonna get it going once again, finding an initial engage off onto Stefan, but once again the Maokai, not the guy that you want to be jumping damage into. Liam Cole taking a little bit low as PP back. Kitano retreating on the side from Voxnay, chasing them down with the Yuumi on his back. Another kill for DV. The Danish Guma Yushi, double knock up from Harbo, but The rest of Vanir not really in a position where they can back him up with any damage, and you can see how difficult it is for Vanir to get on top of the Aphelios.
I'm not gonna comment on the Gumayushi comparison. Harbo getting a little bit outplayed mechanically by Stefan there when he did the Q. Stefan literally W'd untargeted on top of Harbo and was able to disrupt him on the other side. But it looks very much like Demboxne's unstoppable here. He has good frontline, thanks to Stefan. He has good threat on top of him, thanks to Vladdy. He's able to basically one-shot any squishy member of Vanir that wants to get on top of them. It's all about Harbo. And whether Harbo can create enough disruption, the arrows coming in, it gets Vladdy this insta-cleansed.
Oh, double root there. Demboxne's locked up, he's charged! He's gonna get shut down! Gitano super happy with that kill, but is he gonna be able to get any more? No. One more, a double for the Olaf, but that'll be it for him. The rest of Vanir here to clean it up. And Nativz, they overstep, and Vanir take 4 off the board.
This is what 4-4 wanted last game, right? 4-4 had a composition that plays out quite easily in a group 5-on-5 situation, but they needed tier 3s to get it on. They never got that option. They were countered by stopwatches, by Chemtech Soul. If anything, Nativz are so early on here that they didn't have any such response. I think Stefan just dies here, by the way.
It should do. I mean...
Eventually.
Yeah, it will happen. It is a 2-item Maokai on the honey fruit, but he's going to die. PP Bat with a kill for himself. And hey, actually, this Belveth, this Olaf, now, after that team fight, getting closer to a couple of items. And if Vanir can find another one of those engagements, then they're denying stuff like Infernal Soul, you're denying stuff like Baron. And even though you've been down this entire game, it feels like there's still a path for you back into it.
Yeah, I mean, their composition feels really good in 5-on-5. The difference between this game and last game is I don't feel like their composition scales infinitely, like the Jinx Victor composition theoretically did. There was no combination that made up for the range discrepancy, right? There was only gameplay and stopwatches, apparently, and Chemtech Soul, and like a lot of things that God kind of had to give you at a point, right? With Vanir, there doesn't seem to be such a path. But if they do catch out Nativz on mistakes that Nativz makes, like Jace moving up here as an individual and hitting the wave and none of his team is on the map.
Okay, so many dashes from PP Bat, the charge from Harbo, but he's gone too far. And with the ultimates committed from Vanir, they've got nothing to save them from the re-engage from Nativz. Liam Cole,
wow.
Decent encore, gets one, but you're going backwards the entire time, and that's not the direction that Vanir want to be going.
Yeah, all the engage ultimates are down on Vanir. Only Pippi Bat has... I was calling Pippi Banan. Almost Pippi Bat has the ultimate left.
Oh no!
Least fed Jace.
Oh, it's really, really unpleasant.
Yeah, it is, no? And that's also... The guy who just one-shot is the guy that you're relying on to sustain through the poke. Like...
Not sure he's going to be able to. I like this from Pippi Bat though, trying to cut the wave and buy his team a little bit more time. But it really just feels like it's time for nowhere right now. Pippi Bat is running towards a Drake that he will not be able to take.
If he can buy 10 more seconds, maybe Liam Cole can use Unleashed TP to contest. But they do need to contest this Infernal. Problem is, Nativ's composition kind of deletes this thing. And by composition, I mean Aphelios just kind of deletes this thing. Vladdy's found Pippi Bat.
Yeah, and you can see the idea, right? Try and sneak into the pit, get a seal, deny the soul, but Nativz wise to the play, not going to let it happen. And now with the Infernal Soul at their backs, TP's into the bot lane looking for one last shove to put themselves beyond doubt ahead in this game.
Yep, it's unlikely that you're going to need that teleport again. If they get another fight and they're unable to end, they just get the Baron anyway, but I don't see any real configuration where that's true. Harbo looking for another engage, but so far every time he's done that, he's just found himself alone in the middle of 4 people, getting melted by Demboxne and this Aphelios. Look at the tank shred that this guy has in his build right now, with a Yuumi keeping him alive, and the rest of his squishy teammates, they find that Vladdy on Jace might be a bit too powerful.
Stefan interrupting the attempted engage from Harbo's. Pippi Bat is going for absolutely everything, but he finds absolutely nothing. Demboxne with another cleanse away, able to rain down damage, and it's Vladdy with a double for himself. Nativz stomping their authority on Vanir as their mid laner. will secure themselves a triple kill. And whilst they may have fallen to Verdun in Game 2 last week, they are right back to winning ways as Nativz take out Vanir.
Vanir had the simpler draft, but Nativz are the ones who made it look easy. Definitely looks like a team that's looking to be a top team and differentiate themselves in the standings. Hats off to them, Voxnay. A lot of the game was about him. Somewhat similar to last game, but with less straight plays from Stefan. You could see them just zone straight off on the 2v2. But that is the strength that an AD carry has against a non-AD carry, right? Problem with AP champions other than Karthus, they can't really attack anywhere near as much as you, because you just have to right-click. Whereas that guy's like, all right, what's my cooldowns, right? There is no cooldown on auto-attack. It's like 0.6 seconds or something.
I would like to see some Karthus, to be completely honest with you. I think that
Yes.
Karthus is... we need to see it from more than just big clan over in the Prime League, that's for sure. So we have seen the aerials, for but nothing I want to keep in mind here. Speaking of champions that can go into jungle, just jungle in general here. Actually, a pretty strong start for PewBet, right? A bit of jungle chaos in the early game. That early topside invade here, securing 3/4 of the jungle for PewBet's Belveth, but something that he really wasn't able to convert into a meaningful early game lead, veteran.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was an intent to do a free quadrant play on the early. He went through top lane, he went towards bot side, but Stefan was already there like, buddy, I thought we agreed to a map split, because you can't actually be here right now, because you gave my team enough information to know that they could get a Giga slow push on bot lane that you guys couldn't contest. So he ended up just having to go back in towards his own jungle, and then you figured, okay, now they're playing split map for the Olaf, but that never really transpired. He was never really there on a wave where the Gnar was truly vulnerable. You could see the dividends being paid off that Gnar pick, where it was like, okay, Shikari, just play safe, don't feed the Olaf. He was like, yeah, sure, I'll just hop, skip, jump away at every point, because they don't have much point-and-click setup on me, hard CC of any kind, really, to do a 2v2 play on top. All they can do is get me on the slow-pushed wave, and PewBet was never there on the slow push wave on top side. It's like they felt they had to do what Unique did in the last game and play around bot lane. No, buddy, if you're going to put Kitana on something like this and you're going to have enchanters on bot lane, accept the enchanters may be a bit further behind than normal. Just play to Kitana. I want to see this guy unlocked. The guy plays stat check champions, alright? We know what those look like if they get fed. Feed the guy. He's starving out there, buddy. He's on an NLC salary. Come on.
You would just like give PewBet like VODs of whoever has been jungling for Adam over the course of the years, and like when Adam was in the LFL, etc.
I think
I
what
just
we
like tell him to do this
is...
for Kitano every game, like.
No. It's simple that. What you do, go into a custom game, okay? You turn the cooldowns like off, so you can cast abilities as much as you want. You go Kitano,
Sweet.
right? You go PewBet, okay? This is your map, and you go into mid lane and you just put Anivia walls there. You just line them up. It's just like, you can't go bottom side, okay? You've got to go top. You've got to play towards this Olaf if you are drafted it, because we saw that it could look well for them. That top lane fight was so damn close, and I think if a little bit more of that gold had been on the Olaf, a little bit more gold had been on the Belveth rather than towards this bot side, I think we could be looking at a very different game. I think we'd probably still be in it right now.
Yeah, unironically, low-tech solution here. Just stick masking tape over the bottom of his mini-map right there. Then he can't play to bot lane even if he wanted to, alright? We've invaded top, just split map. These are they patched the game. Okay, these are all your camps right now. Okay, it's different now, alright? This is just how we play the game. And I do think the game goes a lot better, but maybe also at that point give him some crowd control, right? Because if you're going to play Bisgar and Olaf, these things, he's not going to have much crowd control. Top side, Shio loves going for Maokai and stuff. We want to talk about the current jungler of Adam. Otherwise, I feel like saying that the previous jungler of Adam when he was on K-Corp was actually Targamas. And we're a long way there before we tell Garfield to adopt that kind of a playstyle. And I think you do want Liam Cole to have a support in his bot lane, right? Like Xmeti never really got. I do think you want to play this as a two-threat comp. I think Liam Cole should have a lane bully on bot side. So maybe you just have your jungler play more of a utility role. Like, kind of like Woljo's doing.
And I do believe we do have an interview ready with the man in question, PewBet, that we've been talking a little bit about here. Hello, PewBet. Commiserations with a rough result here in this game. Can you kind of like talk us through what went wrong for you in the early to the mid game? Unable to find openings, etc.
Just some smaller mistakes, right? One death here, there, never helps. And then mostly in the mid game, we look for hard plays on mid. Skill shots were not quite landing, and then it results in what you saw. Also, the biggest thing, Dan Voxner, Harbo, and I played a Warcraft 3 custom game, and we said whoever wins this will win, and we lost.
Oh, so you lost the you lost the mini game and you also lost the actual game.
We took the L twice.
That is rough. Speaking of taking the L twice here, that's what you want to avoid going into tomorrow. You have a very rough week on paper, right? You have Verdun tomorrow, I believe, in your matchup there. What are your thoughts going into that game specifically looking forward?
Well, just try to play our best. It's nice coming in with people's expectations are that we lose, so if we do actually lose, it doesn't feel as bad. So the mental is still really good. I don't know what our draft plan is yet for tomorrow, but
obviously shouldn't talk about it here
it'll be
either.
Something spicy.
Okay, that sounds very good. We love spicy stuff here. The Belveth, for example, is that like so? Something that you have been playing in other leagues, from what we've been told here, is that something that is a comfort carry pick for you in the jungle?
Yeah, it's my first time I played in official actually, but I have a lot of solo queue games with it. Just a comfort pick.
Awesome. What
pick, if you like.
What do you? Also another question that we had. Which animal / fish is Belveth the closest to? There was a question on cast between.
Animal.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there some weird fish that has like 1,000 babies in its belly when it's pregnant? Then that one.
Because we're talking about a stinger, a manta ray, or something around those lines. But
manta ray, then, right? Looks,
yeah,
based on looks at least.
Yeah. Let that be the closing statement of this interview. Thank you so much for your time. Good luck tomorrow in your matchup against Verdant.
Thank you.
Animals where the male carries the sort of like, oh, hello.
You're on vocals.
Hello, Middlecott. Do you want to finish that?
No,
that
just
thought?
having an interesting conversation about seahorses.
Well, he asked
guys.
about like, is there any that like spawns like a bunch of babies and stuff? And like seahorses, no. Seahorses like carry them internally as well.
Well, where is
some
our
point,
seahorse
so
champion in
that's-
League of Legends actually?
Should be. That needs to be rectified immediately. I think the whole movement set of that character would just look funky as all heck. Is it
It
just
would be
bouncing
interesting.
around on the tail? I think that'd look good, you know?
I think that probably the biggest issue there is that like you just wouldn't be able to lane because there's just no water in the lane.
River
So you
Shem.
just have- you
We
Yeah.
just take the River Shem playstyle, make it into an entire champion veteran. Well, that would be the actual best way to go here. And we have another interview ready this time around with Dan Voxney. And also, hello, Dan Voxney. I'm gonna put the proper pronunciation on that for a second here. So, congratulations on the victory against the Dan Voxney Jr. to a certain extent, Liam Cole in the bot lane. Playing a lot of affiliates just like yourself, and then taking the Seraphine as well in the draft. So what went through your head when they had that very early Seraphine that they could like, sort of flex around? I can't hear you. Take the call. You can hear me, guys. That's the most important thing, right? I am the star of the show. That's why they brought me in to host this. I am the real star.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. So the actual real star of that game was you. That was by no stretch me, Dan Voxner. So again, we kind of built the game up to be a bit of a showdown between you and Liam Cole, two very comparable Danish AD carries. With a very similar champion pool as well. Him coming out with that Seraphine, what went through your mind there?
As I said, I guess you couldn't hear me before, right? But we weren't really prepared for them to actually pick it. It's kind of interesting when you see other people pick up stuff you've played for a long time, or just like you're aware of, so you kind of know at least loosely what is good against it, and like what to do, what not to do, what champs they might draft, stuff like this, you know. So I guess we just went with what we knew they most likely would pair it with, and then banned for that, and then just made sure to play our game. Like, I don't think we changed anything too particularly. Like, it was just like, okay, make sure we adapt to the situation. What is their level 1s? What can they do there? We put some wars. Like, just make sure we're in a good state, because I think right now we're very comfortable. Like, pretty much no matter the draft, as long as we get our stuff, we just need to make sure, I think, we maybe broaden our champion pools a bit and make sure we become a little more versatile.
Speaking of broadening the champion pool, Yuumi making it through 2 rounds of bans as well as 2 rounds of draft. Pretty much, you guys being able to get it in the second draft phase. Obviously, we all know love, loathe, hate, love Yuumi, depending on who you are. But were you guys happy with like the Yuumi just being let through? Were you surprised by it not being banned away? I was seeing us up. Let's crank ban something special in there as well.
Yeah.
Like what?
I guess I can go into it a little bit. I won't spill too much.
Yeah,
secrets,
don't
but, like,
leak, right?
No, don't worry. But like, obviously, Seraphine does the best when she gets to free scale, when like she can group mid later on and just press her spells. Like that's no secret. That's how the champ works. That's what you want to look to do. So in this case, especially with Yuumi, like she's not that weak early. I know, like, it's a meme, like they try to nerf her early. She's never weak early. She's always OP. But like in comparison to other champs that can actually threaten to kill her, dive her, it's a bit harder with Yuumi. So that's the kind of thought process with the Seraphine. So that's why I don't think we were just like, okay, what's left? What do we think could fit with our comp? It's fine. Like, even though maybe it's a suboptimal matchup, like I think overall with the comp we were happy to pick the Yuumi later on. So I think it's always like it's not as black and white as like, oh, Seraphine is good into Yuumi, or like Yuumi is not like OP. It depends on what people pick and what people prioritize. Like when you see the Seraphine and the Sion 1-2, you know, like we have a certain thing prepared or like think is good into it, and that's what we're gonna, you know, look to do.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, and yet again, congratulations on the win. Good luck in your games tomorrow.
Thank you.
And with that, we are going to be taking a short break, and we'll be right back with another banger from the NLC.